You are looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell 140 points or 0.79%, and closed at 17,720. Well, round it up and call it 722 today. The volume was higher. You can see 12% above the average daily volume. So the Nasdaq sold off with volume. Now remember, tomorrow is quad witching day. There's 4 days out of the year, 4 Fridays out of the year, where it's the last the third Friday of the month, but the last Friday in the quarter. So June, March, June, September, and December. The third Fridays are quad witching days. So it usually just adds some volatility, and we certainly got that today. But it was a normal rotation. The Nasdaq had been up, I believe, 6 or 7 days in a row, made this big move here. Yeah, 7 days in a row. So, it's not going to go up every day. And so it gave some back today. The thing about today's session was that it started off high and it made a new high there at 17,936. And I thought it might hit 18 today, but it reversed. It took out the 935 from Monday, right? The holiday was Wednesday, which makes a little gap in the chart here, but it did open up higher. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. It opened up higher, made a new high, and there you can see it just a tick above the high from Monday. There's 935, made a high at 936, and then immediately sold off. And some buyers come in and sold off further. Some buyers come in and sold off into the close. So this is expected rotation for the Nasdaq. We've seen this rotation all year long. Just I just want to call it a normal rotation, where we saw money move out of the AI stocks, the semiconductors, the hardware names, some of the software names, and it doesn't take much when you're selling an NVIDIA and an Apple and a Microsoft, $3 trillion companies. It doesn't take much selling to buy some of the miners and the financials and the utilities. And some of those names that we saw go up today. Actually, a lot of sectors were up. It just was the technology sector that got hit. So, like I say, just normal rotation, expected rotation. Just want to point out one thing here that we're likely to see a little more selling here. Is I always tell you to keep an eye on this. The Nasdaq is now 1% above the 10. 2.8% above the 21, and still 7.1% above the 50. So, it can correct through price or time. Today, it had been correcting through time, but today it decided to correct through price a little bit. So probably feel that in your portfolio if you own a bunch of growth stocks in the AI sector, which were sold. But yeah, like I said, we saw the financials were strong, the utilities were strong, the energy sector was strong, healthcare, it's mostly just retail and technology. So anyway, that's the Nasdaq. That's where it got hit. So my video will be shorter today because we don't have as many winners to talk about. But I do want to point out, some of these big names that I mentioned earlier. NVIDIA has made a big run. People always want to call a top on this and, broke its upper channel line and yada, yada, yada. This thing is due for to form a base, some type of a base, maybe a, 5-week base or 6-week base in here. The 130, 120 to 130 area wouldn't surprise me. I'm really surprised at the strength following the split. This thing has just been on fire. So 3.5% pullback today. This is where if you have to decide what your time frame is. If you're long term, of NVIDIA and you think it's going to 4 trillion or 5 trillion and AI is just getting started, this is a blip on the radar. If you're trying to swing trade this and you don't want to take, a big hit on here and have it come down to 120 or have it pull back to that 21 EMA here, which is at 118 and change today. If you don't want to do that, then probably get rid of it, buy back later. It just depends on you, who you are as a trader and what you can tolerate, what your personality can tolerate. I don't like taking drawdowns at all, but some people are just NVIDIA, I'm gonna hold it for another year and it's gonna be higher in a year, so they don't care. So anyway, so timeframes matter. Microsoft is another one that I like, but you know, as far as an AI play, and it was just flat today. A little bit of selling. Also the end of this. This is the end of the quarter here next Friday. So there will be index rebalancing, and you know, Microsoft and Apple and NVIDIA will be bought and sold over and over. I believe the expectation is NVIDIA and Microsoft to be sold, and bought and Apple to be sold. And since I'm mentioning Apple, you know, this is what we've seen a lot of lately, right? It had this buy point here of 199.62. We'll just call it 200. So right here at 200, and it just ripped right through it, right? And traded up to like 220, but now it's coming back. And like I say, if you miss the breakout, if you miss this move, sometimes, you know, it pulls back to that pivot area and the second mouse gets to cheese, right? The first mouse is the tease and the second mouse gets to cheese. So we'll just see what happens here with Apple. I wouldn't mind if it came back, you know, to its 21 EMA and give people another chance. So, you know, like I say, it just depends. If you bought this at 200 and you got a 10% move up to 220, you know, and if you just want to swing trade that, that's fine. If you're a longer term, want to add, if it comes down, that's fine too. It's just up to your, you know, your tolerance levels, your time frames, and you know, your personality. And okay, I did mention NVIDIA, so I have to show NVIDIA. Yeah, okay, I showed you that one. That one's fine. NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Apple. Those are the $3 trillion stocks that are, you know, being sold to finance other you know, beaten down names. Just a normal rotation. The other one I wanted to show is Meta and Amazon. Meta still to me is just, you know, struggling with that 500 level. It's just giving you a chance here. It's been doing this for a long time. I know it's sold off with earnings and now just, you know, above all moving averages and just going sideways. That looks fine to me. Amazon, this one was up today. It's just consolidating in a base as well, going sideways for quite some time here around the 180, 185 level. So the Amazon's, it looks fine. And then Google, the last of these stocks, again, just going sideways. No harm, no foul here. Just going sideways, consolidating, digesting gains through time. So anyway, those all look good. What doesn't look good to me, you know, I mentioned these data storage names for a while now. Micron reports earnings on June 26th, which is next Wednesday. So this has had a big run, right? It had this cup with handle, the pullback, had this big run, ran up on Tuesday, you know, the big gap here. It filled that gap today to 157. So that's a big move, 121 to 157. So now it gives some back, closes that gap there at 148.75. Still, it's 1.9% above that 10 EMA. So maybe it comes back and gives you another chance. Or I mean, if you bought it here at the buy point, well, I think we had it at 128 or 127 or something, and you just want to hold on, you know, you have some cushion. But like I said, like we saw with a lot of stocks, they come back to their pivot point and give you a second chance. If this one's going to do that, I don't know, but time will tell. We just have to watch it, take it one day at a time. Don't get too excited here. Pure Storage, I was listening to their analyst day before I logged into Zoom here to film this video, and they didn't say anything earth-shaking, you know, just the same stuff from their earnings report, recent earnings report. So no big deal, but this thing did pull back, undercut its 10 there, 3.2% above the 21. So it still looks good, trending, and we'll just see where they find support. This is what pullbacks allow us to do, is find out where the stock will find support. You know, when will it bounce? Will it bounce off the 10? Will it bounce off the 21? Will it come down to the 50? You know, you don't know. You know, when they start coming in, you don't know how far they're going to go down, how long it's going to last, or I mean, you know, when they're going to bounce. But I like to buy bounces and not dips. I like to wait to see until you know, you get some of these big blue volume bars and the institutions are buying the stock again. WDC, Western Digital, another one in the data storage group, pulled back to its 21 today. Will it find support there? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. Another one is STX, Seagate. Pull back to its 10 today. That was a little stronger than Western Digital, not quite as strong as Micron. Seagate looks fine. It's got that buy point at 97.95, so maybe it will come back to its buy point and give you a second chance. SIMO, another one in this group. SIMO, pull back to its 10 today. I wouldn't call that a bounce. It's just, you got to look at the weeklies here. Somebody mentioned that they wanted me to put this earnings line in every chart. It's only on the weekly charts. So if you want to see an earnings line on a stock, I've got to look at the weekly. So if there is a stock out there that you want to see, but I mostly go through daily charts on, the daily reviews, but sometimes I hit the weekly or the monthly or whatever. All right. That's it for the data stores. They were losers today. And another one that just cannot rally at all of these crypto names. This is MicroStrategy, which is set up here in a base, but it just keeps going lower and lower. Traded down to its 50 today. And maybe it'll bounce here. I don't know. But the digital currency markets have certainly been under pressure. I think Bitcoin was under 65,000 at some point today. And I don't know, oil is rising and Bitcoin is going lower. And you just can't buy these stocks until they show, some kind of strength here. Hood traded down to its 21 today once again, broke out of a base, and now it looks like it's going to return to its pivot area. It's still, it's very close there, just $1 away. And then coin is one that this is really frustrating stock because it's set up nicely, pulled back and then rallied, now pulled back again to its 50, and it just doesn't have any strength, any juju, any momo. With the Nasdaq at highs, you want to see these things taking off, making new highs, but Coinbase is just struggling. So there's more pain for these stocks. Another group that got sold today is the retail restaurant group. Big gains here, lots of profits to take. So they roll the profits into other areas, beating down names. And that's just the way the market's been doing it all year. And this is Chipotle trading down to its 21 today, a nice 213-point haircut or 6.2%. Yowza. Sweet Greens, another one, sliced its 21. I don't like the looks of that. 6% move. So Sweet Greens needs to find some buyers. CAVA, another one that sold off today. This one just pulled back to its 10. So once again, you have to, these pullbacks and these sell-offs and these dips are good to see, provide a lot of information of where your stock is going to find support and be bought. Where are the institutions going to buy these? And Bros is another one of the retail names that sold off today, just traded down to its 20, its 10. And once again, near an old buy point here. We'll see if it comes down to that level. We've seen that a lot recently. All right, I'm going to move on to the software names. These are just too hard. I think part of the problem is that AI, the hardware, the bigger names like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, they're going to take a lot of share here, and it's going to be kind of hard for these smaller software names during the AI revolution to make it. So App had been a really strong stock, just pulled back to its 50, and it just cannot find any buyers, cannot find support, cannot bounce at all. So just squatting here at the 50. Crowd sold off today, another software name. It's extended, right? So this is what I call normal rotation. When when your stock is well above the 10, you got to expect it, some profit taking, have it come back. That's why, we watch the moving averages to see where they're going to be bought. And Spotify, one that I do have on the ready list, this is still just trading within its base, still near the moving averages, 1.6 above the 21, but you can see it's still in that consolidation phase. All right, I mentioned some names of stocks. I'm going to go to the retail names of, this one is CROX. It broke out of a base here. You can see a clear cup with handle. Once it, made this little handle and shook everybody out, then it ran hard, but then it pulled back to its old buy point and give you a second chance. So I think that's what we're going to see here with a lot of these AI names that broke out and now they're selling off. They could possibly keep an open mind, be flexible. They could provide a second opportunity to buy. I'm still bullish on them. Like I said, it's just a normal rotation. that we've been seeing for a long time in this new uptrend. But CROX, came down to that buy point now, ripped higher today, got an upgrade, and then some people were buying it this morning. I said, this is a sucker's play. Let me go to the 5-minute chart. It was upgraded and it ran hard. And my buddies were buying it. CROX, you got to get in. I said, I'm already in. They wanted in on it, so they paid like 163, and the stock sold off all day. Now they're underwater, and it's my fault. That's why I say you got to buy at proper buy points. If you're chasing this stuff up here, there's no way you should be buying this stock way up here. It's just 146, not long ago, or even less. What was it? 143, like 2 weeks ago. Now you're going to pay 165. Come on. All right, let's move on. Decker's slice is 21 today. I'm a little concerned about this one. It's been a monster for a long time. I think, one of these days it's going to split, but you could see all the selling here while the Nasdaq has been making new highs. This one's selling off. Now it's 11% below its all-time high here, and you can see the selling coming in. I know it's light volume selling and just a pullback, but it needs to find support, find some buyers here. ON, another one of these shoe stocks. Pull back to its 21 today, bounce a little bit. We'll keep an eye on this one, see if it can get it back above the 10 there. ELF, had a big move on Tuesday, so it just gave a little back today. It poked its head above that high, 214.79. The high on Tuesday was 214.61, but then it reversed lower. So anyway, ELF looks fine. You got to expect profit taking when you see moves like that. A Shark Ninja, this one is very strong stock, just pulled back to its 10 today as well. That one looks good. Abercrombie and Fitch. This move was a little tough. It's forming this little bull wedge pattern, pull back to the 21 today. So, got to watch these pullbacks and see what they do. I have a couple on my ready list here. Dix looks fine here. You can see that nice shake out here, and it's moving higher. It was actually up today. Not bad. And then Burlington gapped higher following its earnings report, made this little bull wedge. You found support at the 10 and now bouncing. So that's what you want to see here. A pullback to a moving average and support and then bounce. So Burlington is acting well. And retail had a pretty tough day today. So but you can't be all wrong when you see Walmart making new highs, right? Come on, Walmart made a new high. So all right, I'm gonna move on here. Walmart made a new high. That's fantastic. All right, good for retail. I got to get to the drug stocks. So there were some winners and losers in drugs. Vertex Pharmaceuticals bounced off to 21. And that's what you want to see. Pull back to moving average and then the bounce. For Vertex, REGN. This one didn't even make it to its 10 and reversed higher today. That one looks strong. NBIX, I can't stand the way this stock trades, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. Still below the 50, still consolidating in a base. This has just been a long time of, that's just like a swing traders, buy the dip, sell the rip, buy the dip, sell the rip over and over again. I just can't take stocks like that. And then, of course, Eli Lilly. There is an American Diabetes Association meeting this weekend. Lilly and Novo and Dexcom will be providing some new data points. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be pretty positive news here this weekend. So, and I buy a couple of calls for June 28th maybe. And if the news is good, they rally, and you make a couple bucks that way. They're not that expensive. If you go out of the money like 900, this thing did trade over 900 today, I believe, for the first time. Yeah, 905. So, and then, reverse lower, like pretty much every other growth stock. All right, so that's it for the drug stocks. I got to move on. What was working? I mentioned the miners, and this is just an ETF, the silver, ETF up, nearly 4%. That was SLV, then GLD, another one rallied through its 50, so that looks pretty good here, up 1.25%. FCX, Freeport McMoran. These are definitely not some of my favorite names, but just recognizing where the rotation is going to. This one's been pretty beat up. Slice it's 50. Now it's starting to get some love as they rotate into these names up 3.5%. So probably going to rally through the 50. Where they sell off the tech names, and this is just the rotation that we've seen all year long. Nothing new here. Southern Copper looks like it made this bottom here and now looking to rally through its moving averages, made it through the 10 today. We'll see if it can get through the 21 and the 50, but that's just, like I said, it's just a rotation. Some of the utilities got some love today. Vistra bounced, pulled back to the 50 and bounced. That one looks pretty good. Constellation Energy, this is stronger than Vistra. How do I know? Because it already traded down to the 50. It already bounced, and now it's above all of its moving averages, 8.3 above that 50. So that is a strong one as well. And then SO, Southern, bounced above its moving average today as well. So the utilities, energy names, those energy names doing well, but not all of them did well. Gosh, looked at power, and that one pull back to the 21. We'll see if it finds support there. STRL pulled back, to its 21. We'll see if it finds support. Anyway, some of the other oil names, oil was up today. So, Chevron, this is obviously a beaten down name. There's money rotating into the beaten down names, and it looks like a good value play. So they take money and take profits from some of those tech names and buy, Exxon Mobil and Chevron, and yeah, so they bounced today. Warren Buffett, I think he owns like 30% of Occidental now. It got a little bounce today, and that's it for me today. You can see the rotation. My stocks, one that I own, don't do well. When they rotate into the energy, miners, utilities, and that type of name, so I've got to make an adjustment in my portfolio. Anyway, that's it for me today, except for I lied. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I just wanted to say one thing. The great Willie Mays passed away on Tuesday after I learned about it Tuesday evening, and he was my boyhood idol. He has a lot of boyhood idols growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Silicon Valley Mays was my hero. My dad used to take me to the games at Candlestick Park. And we went to a lot of ball games, and he took me to the game where Roseboro got hit over the head with the bat by Marichal. It was Marichal and Koufax that day, and Marichal thought Roseboro threw the ball by his ear too close, and he took a bat to his head and split his head open, blood everywhere. The big fight. It was pretty intense game, for I think it was like a 7 or 8-year-old kid at the time. But Willie Mays hit a home run to end the game. I thought this guy's like a superhero. And I always wore number 24 in all my little league, high school, and college days, in honor of Willie Mays, because he inspired me to love sports and play ball. And I was pretty obsessive personality, so I was obsessed with baseball and was good enough to be drafted in the 1976 Major League Baseball draft by the New York Mets, which was Willie Mays's last team that he played with. So I wanted to play for the Mets, and I was scouted by Eddie Montague Sr., who scouted and signed Willie Mays. So I was in awe of Eddie Montague, so I wanted to play for the Mets. But my dad, he was a lawyer and he was an educated person, wanted me to go to school. So I went to college instead. One of my big regrets. Kind of wish I would have signed and played minor league ball for the Mets. But oh well, life goes on. Anyway, let me see. So I was offered $10,000 to play, which doesn't sound like much, but back then, for a high school kid, I would have been rolling in the dough. But I declined and went to college instead. And anyway, yeah, Willie Mays was my boyhood idol, and anyway, he passed away, and so I don't know, just wish the family well, and just honor him. And he was a great player, and he inspired many. And it just kind of makes you feel old when your boyhood idols are passing away. Anyway, that's it for me at mcstockcharts.com. I am obsessive with baseball as I was as a kid. Now I'm obsessive with stocks and golf. So you try to be the best you can at what you do. And Willie was the best at baseball. And every day you try to be better. try to be the best at what you do. So, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow's a new day. It's a quad witching Friday, more volatility ahead. So, just, never give up.